We seem to be good.
Alrighty, how do folks? Welcome to the 4th episode of Lorekeepers. I am Bretlowski. With me as ever is my partner in crime, Darth Sevius, and with us today is Toxic of Toxic Painting. And today we are going to talk about Chaos Raptors. Chaos Raptors are the corrupt, evil, final forms of the Assault Marines of the Space Marine Legions of old. Raptors have become maniacal, egotistical assault troops that jump in, chop everything up, jump out, and do it all over again. Yeah.
Awesome scene. So yeah, the essentially the Chaos Assault Troops is what we're saying. So did you want to go back into like a bit of an overview of the history before we move on there, Brett? Or?
Yeah. In the Space Marine Legions prior to the Horus Heresy, assault units were actually fairly rare. So when there were assault units, they were elite. They were very they were just, you know, the best possible assault units out there. The assault units of old are much better than the assault units of, you know, today, per se. Because you know, the technology used to make their jump packs, you know, back in the 30th millennium was much better than what they have in the 40th millennium now, or 41st millennium, sorry. And what that translated to is actually nowadays, many Chaos Raptors have the odd ability of legitimately flying instead of just like jumping around like most assault troops. Which we'll go into that in more detail later. Assault troops, some legions weren't that profligate when it came to assault troops. Like, assault troops were rare to begin with, but then you had legions like the Death Guard and the Iron Warriors, where there just weren't that many, if any at all. I mean, the Iron Warriors had a few, but I highly doubt the Death Guard had any whatsoever. But then you had legions like the Blood Angels and the Night Lords, who had large groups of jump pack infantry. The Night Lords in particular are very well known for their Chaos Raptors.
Like, if you try and look up Raptors, and it's just like, did you know Night Lords have Raptors? Do you want some pictures of Raptors? Here's some Night Lord Raptors. There's Night Lords have Raptors, by the way, and one of the only sort of two really there's a few named Raptors like in the books and in the fluff and stuff, but yeah, most of those are Night Lords. Most of them come from a single cult at that. So yeah, I was going to talk a little bit about the cult themselves and the Raptor cult. So during the heresy, they were the first. The Raptors, as Brett mentioned, the extra super duper zoomy assault troops of the Traitor legions were the first on the battlements of Terror, and also the first out again, as the people don't like to mention. They love their flamers, plasma guns, and melters, as well as the good old bolt pistol and melee weapons, so they can get themselves into battle. Through the time and heresy and their kind of modifying of their armor, they are now making themselves look like screaming demon bird type things, and instill fear into the people they're fighting against. And basically, they're like, this is something I really want to debate with all of us, but they can take a mark of any god. It's not been said that any particular god created them, or that they kind of ascribe to, although it's very seriously theorized that there is a Raptor god themselves. As all Raptors seem to go a similar way. Some might kind of like backpacks change to wings and some people's conversions and stuff, but they all seem to go the same way, and they all end up as warp talons as they were introduced this edition, and we'll talk about a little bit more later. But I just wondered what were your guys' thoughts on the Raptor God. Brett, you anything to say?
I honestly like the idea of a Raptor God. Just saying Raptor God sounds pretty cool. Kind of like Raptor Jesus, but different.
I love the idea of Jesus with jump packs. Good times.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's one of those little things that Games Workshop and really, especially Black Library, really could have a lot of fun with later on. Like, because I know for the Raptor cult that I'm planning for tabletop and possibly for some writing is will definitely reference a Raptor God just because I can. But
yeah,
Toxic, what do you think?
Does sound cool. Toxic, you with us there, buddy? Raptor God thoughts?
Yeah.
And
I know, it's a tough one. I mean, you don't really hear about it unless you're kind of looking for the information yourself. So, I mean, it'd be cool if they mentioned, something a bit more about it. But I mean, when you're converted to the tabletop itself, you still only got the 4 options of gods to pick from. So it'd be kind of cool if they gave you some sort of rule for, like a 5th option for a Raptor god kind of thing. Yeah, I'm not against the idea.
so that would be like a raptor, opposed to like a cornate raptor.
A Raptor's Raptor.
Yeah, a Raptor's Raptor. So maybe they're a little bit more zoomy. So yeah, that's fair enough. So yeah, and the cult. Because like, do you guys have any ideas, thoughts, and theories about the cult? Because the cult is something I find difficult to get my head around. How that formed over the heresy. Like, was there a big meeting one day? Like all the assault troops, we're gonna get you all going together. So yeah, so forget the Legion you're in now, and forget like generally being on the Warmaster side. You guys are just one big cult going to this small god now, and yeah. Because they have that very pack mentality. It's pack, Raptor cult, and then Legion / Warband afterwards. Even for as they all are, well, no, not all are, but most of them are, Black Lords. But yeah. So yeah, Brett, you got any ideas about the cult and the format? How you really think that came about?
Honestly, like the whole formation, the fact that the Raptor cult thing is kind of sort of what gives me the idea, which it gives me credence towards the idea of a Raptor god. But at the same time, like when it comes to cults, likes generally tend to band together, like obliterator cults or that kind of thing. So I think it was really like basically like-minded Chaos Space Marines, kind of, like a lot of assault units operate as groups anyway, so I think it's just a natural like drifting towards one another of things, because like Raptors, a lot of Raptors are very egotistical and have really inflated views of themselves, because usually an assault unit is used against the weakest point in enemy line to crack open a breach and allow the rest of the force in. So
yeah,
and you get a bunch of charismatic egomaniacs together, and yeah.
Fair enough. Toxic, you kind of, have you thought about the cult or that much on that? Like, I know you're more, you just love to see them attacking on the tabletop, but
the way that I kind of look at it is, especially with all things chaos, is that it's it's a survivability thing. With your Legion gone and everything basically turning into warbands, and you join groups and you survive. If you can't do it by yourself, you have to go somewhere. Why not be with a whole bunch of like-minded individuals like yourself, all with the same tactics? Because the big difference between the assault marines of the space marines is that that basically the rookies. When you go, you're fresh out of being a scout, they throw a jump pack on you, And whereas, you know, for Chaos, you are these elite guys that have been around for a while, and, you know, your jump pack is a relic because, well, your Legion is gone, you don't have the means to basically make any more, like the Space Marines, so they throw them on any rookie that passes, you know, scout training. So, yeah, I think, in my eyes, it's more of a survivability thing, and, you know, just being with people, you know, like-minded individuals, and all that, so...
That's fair enough. And going back to something Brett said, I think for me the idea of the Raptor God kind of gives credence to that the thing that them getting together. Like I see what you're saying about them joining and just sort of being the band of brothers that they are, but like particularly for again, Night Lords. Like with the bleeding eyes, we'll talk about a bit more about them in a minute, but even they are very much the pack, which is the newly made 9th Claw, as we mentioned in Black Vault yesterday, and then the Cult, and then the Legion a distant second, even though they have been Night Lords ever since the Great War and all that. So yeah, I think that for me ties them together quite nicely. So I just got some pictures here of some marked Raptors. We got a lovely picture of the Nurgle one there, which is by Sufferist, Deadst 81, and there's a sort of Slanesh Noise Marine one by Krieg's Machine 14. I know Brett said there's probably not very many Death Guard Raptors, and I agree with that, but the Death Guard are not fun. As someone who's such a Chaos Space Marine guy and Nurgly as I am, I can't stand the goddamn Death Guard. There's no joy of Nurgle to them, which I think in many ways. Yeah,
you know, Mortarion really just like snatched away all that was like cool about the Dusk Raiders, created the Death Guard, and it's kind of like
yeah, and because like Nurgle is so much fun, and the Death Guard are just like Mortarion now's a grumpy, go away. Yeah. So what are you gonna do?
The worst part about it is that, you know, Raptors with the Mark and Nurgle are insane. Because the one big thing about Raptors actually on the tabletop is that unless you kind of deep strike them, they're just, yeah, sure, they're really fast, but they're not in a tank to protect them. They're going to get shot at and they're going to die. With the Mark and Nurgle, they survive a little bit more. So if I was running them, I'd be running them with Mark and Nurgle just for that the survivability. But then you have people that are going to be like, well, that's not really fluffy. Well, you know,
but like,
because I know we've kind of had this conversation before when you kind of asked me, like, you know, are they any good? Like, yeah, the Nurgle ones are pretty good.
Yeah, but the kind of like, that's something I discovered is becoming a Nurgle kind of player. Like, I just liked the idea of Nurgle. That's why I went for Nurgle. I was like, yay! You got toughness up on everything. Happy days, because it really does make a difference. Like with the cultists and with the Raptors, it just keeps them alive that bit longer, which is always nice. And like for Chaos Demons, they have enough zoomy, kind of happy-go-lucky, demon-y, fly-y, jet-bikey, backpacky type things. So it's perfectly reasonable that they could have some. So yeah. So back to the Mark Raptor. So yeah, there was the Nurgle dude again there. So I just want to show up some models here. It's got some Thousand Suns Raptors looking rather epic and rather beautifully graceful. So well, yeah, I thought they were very nice, and unfortunately the pitch quality isn't quite so good, but also looking rather graceful and somewhat disgusting. There are some Dornian Heresy Nurgle Sanguinary Guard. So talking about, like, going back to fluff there, like if you take the Dornian fluff, Blood Angels are all about the assault. So they Blood Angels Raptors all over the place in the Dornian Heresy. I don't know. I think we should definitely do a Lorekeepers about the Dornian Heresy one day, because it's a fun thing. We should probably get into that a bit more. So, but yeah, so Toxic, are you saying that it is pretty unfluffy for Nurgle, or you like, yeah?
I would say do what you want. Like, I'm not, like, if you can kind of come up with your own kind of fluff to back your army, if that is your, you know, if that's where you want to run a Nurgle army, you know, come up with the fluff yourself. If you're trying to go the whole Death Guard, you know, foot slogging kind of route, then if that's what you're trying to do, then yeah, you should probably stay away from the from the Raptors.
Yeah.
But if you're doing your own kind of Nurgle kind of warband, then you kind of do what you want anyway.
Totally. I'm considering the fermenters. I'm not sure if they're their own thing, but they might even be some lost tainted lamenters. So then again, would be another good excuse for having assault with the old Blood Angels line. And again, they could be counters Dornian Blood Angels, which is always fun. So should we move on to some named Raptors now? There really aren't that many, to be honest. The only two that really stand out. So yeah, we got so on the right there you got Rodon on the Siege of Castellax cover there by C.L. Werner. So he's the Raptor captain, later becoming the Warsmith of the Iron Warriors from the Siege of Castellax. After fighting orcs and ousting some traitors within the region, he became the Warsmith of the Third Grand Company. And on the other side on there is Lorekeepers from Night Lords again, who Night Lords seem to be our sponsor this week, as well as Toxic Painting, of course. But let's talk to me about Iron Warriors and Raptors, because they don't have an insane amount. There's something we've already mentioned, and this guy's a very odd one as well.
Yeah, I haven't read the Siege of Castellax, so I can't tell you anything about it. But
fair enough.
But with the Iron Warriors, the whole focus on siege warfare, Raptors definitely have a role to play in forcing a breach, scaling a wall, just jumping in, fucking shit up, and jumping out to keep the enemy off balance. But at the same time, I've almost never seen Raptors employed by the Iron Warriors in anything in fiction, in literature, in even on the tabletop. I don't think I've ever seen an Iron Warrior painted Raptor.
Yeah, has Savage ever taken Iron Warrior Raptors at any point? Toxic?
Not that I've seen, and I think it's just the way I see it. It's kind of like what Brett says, that there's definitely a role for a Raptor in siege warfare. I mean, you need them to kind of scale a wall that hasn't been breached yet. Get them to fly up there, take out a weapon, heavy weapons team or something like that. So
yeah, but totally. And as I mentioned earlier, they were the first on the battlements of Terra, in the Battle of Terra, which is the ultimate siege and the ultimate, attacking things going on there. Which maybe it was that. Maybe they were attacking as one during the heresy, before the Black Legion were the Black Legion. But that could explain why the Raptors were such a close bunch in there. So. The other dude. Oh, okay, no. I want to say, but okay. So we don't know an insane amount about Rodan, but we know that he's a Raptor captain, Warsmith of the Iron Warriors, involved in the Siege of Castellax. But again, it seems quite odd and seems to be somewhat unfluffy for him to be able to be a Warsmith in many ways. Because one of the things that kind of is very important about the Raptors is that they are degenerating. They are becoming more warped. And their armor and the machine spirit of their armor and weapons and just their entire nature, we're talking about Lorekeepers here in just a moment, and him and his Raptors are well on the way to becoming sort of warp talons and becoming just basically avian demonic predators. So I don't know. I don't know what you guys thought about having that type of creature as a warsmith. The Iron Warriors are normally quite ordered and organised, and maybe that's just reflected within himself. Brett, anything in there? You're an Iron Warriors fan.
If he's a Raptor and has become a Warsmith, he's probably not nearly mutated enough to be considered a Warp Talon. Because the Iron Warriors are very well known for hacking off mutant limbs and replacing them with bionics, so they wouldn't tolerate an absolute, chaotic mutant as their Warsmith. Not for very long.
Fair enough. So that kind of brings us to, again, the reason why they wouldn't have quite so many of them. Because they wouldn't, if the Raptors are the more degenerative, chaosy type things, you're not going to have them if that's not really your bag.
Well, yeah, I don't know if you guys read the first, Iron Warriors book. But the Warsmith at the time in that book was borderline demon prince. And
Yeah, he was
somewhat
ascending
spoiler
to-
later on turns into a demon prince. And come on, we're talking about chaos there. Do you know how many like fucked up guys you got leading warbands and stuff? You're really gonna care that much if your leader is like borderline like, you know, crazy demon guy? Come on. It's chaos, right? It's just...
Well, just another quick word from our sponsors there. Night Lords. But even the Night Lords, like as we've mentioned before, like they're the Rennegade rather than chaos. They use chaos, and they were led by a demon possessed guy and hated him, and they had a bunch of raptors with them and kind of hated them, but they used them. So yeah, even the non-chaosy chaos used some chaos. But again, the Iron Warriors probably wouldn't be. The Iron Warrior Raptor wouldn't be a Raptor. He would probably be just an undivided or unmarked Raptor. Raptor. So yeah, so Lycorphus. Again, Night Lords. I'm going to say Night Lords a few times today. I've got that feeling. I think I've said it already a few times. So yeah, we mentioned he's kind of this bent, broken creature, head snapping, screeching, wailing like the avian demon thing that he is. And he leads the bleeding eyes. Well, the portion of the bleeding eyes that are with the Night Lords. And yeah, I don't know. But you, Brett, you seem to have some joy in Lycorphus. Like anything that sort of stands out as a raptor, sort of typically or sort of atypically about him.
Not all raptors are like this, but there's more than a few that are. They've gotten to the point where they actually they can stand, normally on 2 feet, and they can attempt to walk normally on 2 feet, but it's awkward and difficult and grievously uncomfortable. So a lot of the time they crawl on all fours, kind of like a big cat. And even that is like awkward and frustrating because like their bodies have changed in such a way that their legs work much more like a bird's legs do because of the whole thing there. And like I said, in the bleeding eyes, like some of the raptors are just as deformed as him. Some of them are more. Some of them, not so much.
Okay.
Like it's a fairly common. It's a fairly common thing for raptors to be all like weird like that.
But it's indicating that they're kind of in that transitional stage from being a raptor towards to being a warp talon. Well, as Kane has just said, well, we're getting into the warp talons in just a moment, and warp talons are they're the fully mutated form of a raptor. They begin as a raptor, and then so. But just before we move on to warp talons, we had some pictures and just some models, just looking at how different the raptors have looked over the years. So we've got this picture going back. I think it's some word bearer raptors here with the flamer using the old the wing packs there. So you're saying you're a bit of you're a fan of the old wing packs.
Yeah, it's I don't know if anyone's ever seen. Maybe I can find a picture somewhere and post it onto Dice Troopers sometime. But I know Savage when he was we were part of a 13th Black Crusade campaign at a Games Workshop. I was doing Word Bearers, he was doing Night Lords, and he was throwing down, and this is Australian dollars, so it's a little bit more, but he was throwing down over $100 on 5 guys because he would get a pack of the old Raptors, a pack of Tyrannid Gargoyles, and a pack of the Sanguinary Guard. You take the Sanguinary Guard backpack, put them on the Raptor, and then you take the Gargoyle wings and put them where the Sanguinary Guard Angel wings would be, and you get like these bat-looking Raptor guys. And I do like the whole kind of winged Raptor look rather than just the jump pack. So,
yeah. Awesome scenes. Brett, any thoughts on the winged ones? I had a few of these Iron Warrior guys that I had a while ago and sold them. I kind of wish I had them still now.
It really depends. I mean, like I like the winged versions for like, you know, like toss them in with your standard Raptors to like spice up the look and whatnot. I think it's really good. Like it's really good. Like, I don't know. I guess you could say cosmetics for the Raptor because it just makes it, you know, all the more badass and funky, cool and stuff. Really.
Definitely, and just as we're going to go through a few more now, like just there is such a variety of guys like to look at. So Night Lords, again, as you may have been surprised to see, but so there's the Night Lords representing like the second, not the second edition of 40k, but the second edition of Raptors with the long curved Velvic, that was Velvic, not Velvic, water or vagina. The assault packs there, and I just there's something wonderful about them. Just the curved kind of remind me of organ, like the organ barrels from like a big cathedral or something. They're just something menacing, and they do look more powerful and epic than they previously have. Guys, you got anything to say about the big curvy ones? I know you've got the big curvy ones on your Rune Priest that Savage sorted out for you, Toxic. Any thoughts there? No. Brett?
I like the curved air intakes for the jump packs. They look cool, but I also like the round, kind of like barrel, like jump packs because that's how like the jump packs were, you know, back in the, you know, good old days of the Horus Heresy and shit. So
the modern ones here, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, like there's room for both in any Raptor cult, pretty much. Like I really like them all. It's all just, you know, where you place them and how you make them look.
Okay. Yeah, and then like I said, if you have the variety of them, you're gonna have a more varied warband, especially if you're going to be fielding a lot of Raptors. I have to say, I appreciate that they are more true to the pre-heresy look. I just gotta say, they're like, I'm not a huge fan of these backpacks compared to the others. I almost dare to ask, but Toxic, any opinions on the pre-heresy current model backpacks?
I like the idea of just kind of sprinkling, you know, bits and pieces into the one unit, because I know, like, last time I was, you know, reading some Night Lords fluff, at least, that the, you know, Chaos are kind of scavengers as well, because they have lost that means of creating new equipment that they do have to kind of steal and pick apart, you know, from, you know, different Warbands or even, you know, Space Marine units. So I do like the idea of having this unit with just bits. You know, some of them might have the old, you know, style jump pack. Some of them might have the curved one. You know, maybe one of them's even taken the jump pack off a Space Marine because his one's, you know, broken beyond repair. It's I like that idea kind of thing. But if I had to pick, I think I don't know. I like the curved one, but then, you know, the other one's in a plastic kit, so if I could get the curved one in a plastic kit, then I think I'd go that.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying there, and we had there's some with just full on winged Night Lords again. Night Lords, like, hey, Night Lords, you had your own episode and you had your own Black Vault yesterday. Like, let some other Raptors shine. But yeah, like, so it's, so here's something I wanted to ask. Like what you're saying there about scavenging stuff and things going on. Like, how does that really work with fitting that into your army? Because like we as we mentioned it with the Night Lords, they had they scavenged some Salamanders Terminator armor and a standard Terminator Imperial. I don't know, a Terminator, because I'm quite cockney for some reason. Yeah, an old Terminator autocannon. Like, can you just take people as allies and like fit that in, because as you said, if they are stealing assault packs, you can have a normal set of assault raptors that aren't raptors, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, like, I mean, like I've said it before in previous episodes, Savage has his Night Lord's army that is made with the Blood Angels Codex, so technically, rules-wise, his Raptor packs are just Assault Marines, but, you know, fluff-wise, he did it because he could take them as troops, whereas you can't do that in the Chaos Space Marine Codex, so you'd have to have, if you want to make a Night Lord's army using the Chaos Codex, you'd have to have a whole bunch of Night Lords on foot, which, you know, to anyone making a Night Lord's army, it's not going to be something that you want to do.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I keep forgetting about that. I just love this idea of just having a codex that fits to what you want and how you work, and just having the army, as long as it is somewhat appropriate, doing that. Because you could definitely argue in a way that's kind of Dornian if you're using the blood. Like, although obviously they are Night Lords, but they are very kind of Dornian Blood Angels-y to a certain extent. Again, lacking the Nurgle, so not at all like them, but actually Chaos, using the Blood Angels Codex at least. So yeah, and then there was some of the lovely guys with some wings. So moving on to Warp Talons, which is something that's been added in this edition. These are the... Well, Brett, do you want to bring us into Warp Talons, or...?
I think you may be better off doing that one.
That's fair enough.
I'm not particularly fond of the Warp Talons. I think it's kind of them... Alright, so I guess I will take us in Warp Talons, never mind.
That's a good one.
Warp Talons are basically your Chaos Raptors who've been so overexposed to the warp that they've started to become more warp beings than, physical beings. Warp Talons can literally, just with a swipe of their power talons, open a rent in reality, hop through the warp, and pop out wherever they want to be. So they're effectively doing the Dark Templar Stalker Blink thing. And Warp Talons have this weird soul sight where they can, where they don't really see their prey, but they see their soul, and that's, it's a better way to hunt them than, by smell or sight or whatever. And just one swipe of the claws, and it just I guess separates the soul from the body. And I don't like them because it turned them from Chaos's jump infantry to their it basically turned them into demons for all intents and purposes. And with the 6th edition, they did that with a lot of things. Like Dreadnoughts were gone and replaced by Hellbrutes. And, Raptors are... I feel like Raptors are about to get, scaled out and just fully replaced by Warp Talons or whatnot. And, yeah.
Well, it's kind of... There was a big thing with 6th edition. We were seeing it with every release. Like, we're seeing it with the Eldar, with the Wraithguard and things like... Hey, here's some, straight up just melee options. As well as just being, although...
It's so easy for them. You're already making this one kit. I don't want to get too much into this and be more of a Hammer topic, but you're making this one kit already, and it's really not all that much for you just to throw in a few different options that changes their hands and maybe a few cosmetic options, and then you make a whole new unit, and now you've got people that already have Raptors sitting at home. Now you're getting a new codex with a new unit, called Warp Talons. Now you got to go out and buy them, and it really doesn't. It doesn't kind of. It's not that hard for Games Workshop to do that. But I think at the end of the day, you're getting more. You're getting more content. So I don't know if there's too much to complain about, but I think that's why we're seeing a whole lot more like that, where you're getting these 2-part kind of kits where you can make them this unit or that unit, because it just is so easy for them to make that new unit, to sell that kit, because people already have Raptors, but people don't have Warp Talons, and you're seeing that with Eldar too, and all the new ones really. But yeah. That's my 2 cents on that.
Well, certainly, but like just looking at so there's the warp talons, and sorry. So there's the Raptors there, the current models, and yeah, here are the warp talons, and now like I have a small gripe. My gripe is like I don't feel there's enough difference between them now. Like the difference between the previous editions of the Raptors and what the current edition is. The current edition look more like warp talons than any of the Raptors ever did. Like I know they become warp talons, but like they're not that much more demonic and disgusting. And I'm still trying to quite get my head around the fluff. Like this is another thing I want to talk about, because like it kind of confuses me. Like it says that their claws and talons have grown and become these horrific lightning claw things, which are therefore represented in the rules as lightning claws. They lose their bolt weapon, the bolt pistol and close combat weapon for 2 lightning claws. But they're not lightning claws. They're their claws that have grown demonically. Like Wolverine doesn't have lightning claws; he has his claws. Yeah, essentially. But again, you look at the models, and like that guy's got a fist. There's some of these guys have got distinct fists as well as their claws. Like, I don't know. It's a bit odd. I don't know if any of you had anything to say sort of on that point.
Not really. I think that there's always going to be some sort of disconnect between the model and the fluff, and it just comes down to how easy you can make that transition between the 2-part kit. But again, it's not really a fluff thing.
Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, I'll just talk about a few more things about the warp talons. So yeah, we already mentioned like as Brett said, they are demons. They even have the demon special rule, giving them the 5-up and fear save, the fear and the 5-up save, after being exposed to warp for so long and cutting through reality. Like cutting through reality seems to be a big fun thing in Warhammer at the moment. Like we just had the Mark of Calth, where Erebus is learning to slice his way through, and you've got it ends with someone else slicing his way through. It's like someone at Games Workshop has been reading the Subtle Knife, or maybe Philip Pullman's Dark Materials series, with just knives just slashing through reality and on their way. So yeah, also they're employed very much like attack dogs or hunting dogs. You mentioned they have the soul sight. They can actually sense and follow emotion, which is kind of crazy. Like that's kind of scary. Isn't it similar to one of the things Karanak, the Cornate Fleshhound leader, does, I think. And they've actually devolved to the point where they can no longer reason, think, or create. And no one else actually understands them at all other than each other, because they just have evolved into, well, devolved, if you will, into a demonic bird of prey encased within warped ceramite. So yeah, kind of like we had a lot of fun things to say about Raptors. I'm just like, warped talons, not so sure. Like, but
I like him personally, like the fluff behind him. They remind me of the Dark Elder mandrakes, or at least a new kind of fluff on the mandrakes, where they're like, you know, half in this world, half in, you know, the warp. They kind of split between the two, and they're like these hunty assassins, and they actually really seem like that mandrake unit, at least fluff wise. But I kind of like the idea of them. I don't think I would ever use them in a list, but I like the idea of them. Especially just that kind of cutting through reality with their claw and just kind of jumping into the warp and coming out wherever they want to, kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. The fluff and the idea behind them, like they are cool, because like it's nice to see that there is some evolution or devolution with the effects of the warp and taint and stuff. But yeah, I don't see many of us taking them. But they are pretty epic, and they are quite fun. And also, another thing about when they tear through reality and burst out, the tear is so violent, and there was obviously a little moment where the warp is open, that it kind of essentially warp flashbangs the person they're assailing. So they kind of thrown in a moment of blind panic, and then lightning clawed or taloned to pieces, which is always fun. They again, the warp talons still can take any mark. It's been theorized that the corn ones are more frenzied, the Slanesh ones are more sadistic, the Nurgle ones take more time, basically slower, and toy with their prey because they like to have a bit more fun, and the Tzim apparently channel the warp for their own protection, so they're not actually using it as magic-y, but they're using it to help themselves. So yeah. And yeah, so
I think the Nurgle ones just kind of say that it's like, yeah, we're just toying with them. Like, really, they're just slow. Like, no, trust me, we're toying with them. We're not just slow.
Just the idea of just clogged, just this horrific, mouldy, clogged backpack. So just like holding onto the back of a blight drone, going, "Take me with you," or just hanging off the leg.
Out smoke.
Yeah, a wonderful image of just loads of just flies just launching from out, like, as a cloud of smoke. Like, no actual smoke, just flies are just being produced by this demonic backpack. That would be kind of wonderful. But is there anything you guys want to mention about the Raptors or Warp Talons before we sort of start bringing this to a close?
No, I think we've covered pretty much all of it.
Do you want to talk about tactics and the use of them at all, Toxic, or?
I just, to me, Raptors are like one of those units that you're gonna take if you like the model, or you're gonna take if you like the fluff, and I can't really see them being used too much in lists, mostly because they're not one of those kind of staple units. You kind of look at a Space Marine army, and you see people using Assault Marines if they like them, not because they're actually good, unless you're playing Blood Angels, where you can take them as troop, because that's kind of how they fall. It's kind of where they fall down for me, is that they're basically just troop with a jump pack, but they're not troop, so they can't capture objectives. So, because that's kind of where they would be good, because you can get those objectives, you can get there quickly. However, the thing I do like about Raptors is you can take 2 special weapons in a 5-man squad, so you can have 2 melter guns, put him in reserve, deep strike him. You know, you can take out a tank or something like that. Kind of just like this throwaway Suicide Squad to take down maybe a Land Raider or something crazy like that. And I think that rocks it at just over 100 points, so it's not bad for the points. I've seen people use, big like 10-man squads of Warp Talons, and I think that's just a giant point sink. They're a little bit more survivable, but again, you're out in the open, multiple shots, you're only toughness 4, maybe toughness 5 if you're Nurgle. Multiple shots are going to drop you down fairly quickly, because it doesn't matter how good your save is or if you've got an invulnerable save, but you're going to, you have to roll dice and eventually your luck's going to turn. So they are one of those things that you're either going to take maybe like a little throwaway squad with melters, or you're going to take them just because you like them. And that's really it.
I think that's fair. I think you really hit the nail on the head there. Like, I think if they could capture things and they counted as troop, there'd be much more. We need a Chaos Raptor character. That's what we need. Like a character that makes.
If you had something, yeah, definitely. If you had that, that'd be amazing. Because not just for rules wise, but you can make those fluffy lists. If you want to have a warband or a cult, you can just play that if you want to, and they don't allow you to do that, which is a shame.
I do find it it's funny how much sort of freedom there is to a certain extent, and then it stops. Like, there is no more freedom, and we discussed a number of ways you can get around that, like using a different codex to the army if it is somewhat appropriate, like with the Iron Warrior, Night Lords, and the Blood Angels and things like that. And again, you have the Mechanicum Tyranid guys as well. But yeah, with I find it odd though, a little bit odd. The stats are the same. There are solid 4s and 1s across the board. But and here's another thing. Like, Warp Talon's considered that much more rare because there can only be 10-man squads. Because you can have a 15-man squad of Raptors. Would you say that's what that's insinuating? Or the
I think that's probably what it looks like. Is that, you know, the rarer they are, the less you can take, and that's kind of been one of Chaos's things, that you can take more numbers because they also, you know, they don't follow the Codex Astartes and all that, so they're not really ruled by how many they can take in a unit. But I would say that's all it is for the difference there.
Okay, fair enough. Although, just really quickly, and certainly off topic. What happens if you find yourself in some kind of crazy apocalypse game with like the Ultramarines, and you want to just like really foot slog it out, and you end up with more than 1,000 models on the table? Like, does the world fall apart?
Yeah,
you just have to take allies, basically.
I think Games Workshop comes and arrests you, and then they take you to their jails and.
And then lots of people just call you Rowboat Girly Man. And Brett, do you just before we start rounding up things, do you want to talk about that little question and debate you had with Kane in chat there, because that was rather interesting and quite.
Kane had asked why do warp talons have jump packs, and I said, well, it's a common theme in a lot of places for like Chaos Space Marines who have been, you know, chaosy for a long time. A lot of times their armor will like fuse to their body and become like part of them, and most definitely with warp talons, most definitely their armor is fused to them, cannot be removed. Yeah, definitely. And like you know, and at that point it's like, why would they, and if they've devolved to such a point where all they do is hunt and kill, then they really don't care about the jump packs anyway. They probably don't even notice.
Yeah, so it's not like this. Oh, that was a good day. Warped taloning. I feel good. Let's just get this off. Much better now. Yeah. So, if anyone has anything to add, please jump in now, or I will start wrapping this bad mother up. Okay, I'm wrapping her up. So, Dice Troop, the icon you can see down there is us. We always do these videos for free. They will always be free. We do them for fun and love and everything, but there are prices, there are costs involved in doing all this stuff, so people can donate if they like. There is a donate button on the Tumblr Dice Troop page. Some people have, and we love you desperately, and we'll find you and do some indecent and wonderful things to you if we ever get our hands on you. And yeah, thank you ever so much for joining us today. Next week's episode is going to be Lorekeepers collectible card game Magic the Gathering episode with Stronography again, so I think we'll be getting into the Planeswalkers a bit more and looking at the Guilds of Ravnica, but I will confirm that and post that in the week. Does anyone else have any particular big things coming up? I know Toxic and I have got the Hammer on Saturday.
Yeah, we got the Hammer, which I already mentioned in chat, that one of our topics will be about metal models. Also, you know, just always keep an eye out on the Dice Troop blog for articles, pictures, painting, conversions, all that good stuff. So
all that good stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it makes me so happy when you say all that good stuff. There's just something nice about it. Brett, what are you working on at the moment? You what are your modelling needs at the moment?
Right now, Fox and I are working on a big, funky, weird project. I'm trying to like fix up my Terminators a little bit and just like I have like such a litany of chaos bits that I'm trying to do something with them so that they're not just like sitting in my bits box doing nothing. That's pretty much what I'm doing. I'm just I'm also going to be kind of sort of introducing and training a friend of mine in 40k tabletop.
Awesome. We're all bringing people into the fold, although things are going a bit odd with quality over your end, so I do apologise. But yes, so we're recent converts, and we're bringing converts ourselves. So we are going to be taking over the world with 40k soon. Also, Toxic, just before we leave, Battle Bros. When are we going to be seeing Battle Bros coming back?
That reminds me. So Battle Bros will be not this Sunday, but next Sunday. We have an amazing giveaway going on right now to kind of celebrate it coming back. I I'm going to be reblogging the giveaway itself onto the Dice Troop blog probably this weekend to give everyone like a week's notice kind of thing. But if you can find it, you just reblog it. Tell us what army you'd want, because the prize is either it'll be like either 40k of fantasy, HQ and a troop, or War Machine or Horde starter box, and then that'll be painted up by me and sent. By me I mean Toxic Painting, and that'll be sent to you. So all you have to do is reblog that, tell us what army you'd want if you won. So yeah, definitely check that out. It's a pretty amazing giveaway. So then Battle Bros will be back on not this Sunday but next Sunday, hopefully around that time. And it's just going to be kind of a show where we talk about pretty much any wargaming in general. We'll just be sitting around painting, hobbying, playing a game, anything really, just talking, get the chat involved, all that good stuff. So
awesome.
Check it out.
Okay. Oh, I've also just remembered we've got Brett. You're both of you again. I'm gonna just singling Toxic out again. You got Darcy Web Dark tonight, yeah? Painting and talking and chatting and all that good stuff.
Yep.
And that's
Well, she said that, because I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
So we got Darcy Web Dark 1 a.m. Tonight / tomorrow morning. That's Eastern time. You got Hammer on Saturday. Table Talks on Monday, and all that good stuff coming soon. So thank you all for joining us for nearly an hour now. Raptor Christ. So yeah, thank you all for joining us. You're all wonderful. I've been Darth Sebius. I've been with Bredlowski and Toxic from Toxic Painting, sponsor, and we shall see you soon. Ta-da, bye.